This episode of the Higher Ground podcast was brought to you in part by the Black Sheep Club. For a while I was racking my brain trying to find a way for you and I to get a little bit closer together in this tight-knit community we've been building around this music. And then it finally hit me. I decided to create the Black Sheep Club, a backstage pass fan experience, behind the scenes, behind the curtain, a 24/7, 365 exclusive look into this music. We'd love for you to come break on through to the other side and join us in the Black Sheep Club.
You can find me rolling like a stone, blowing in the wind down some highway, like smoke in the air, the Colorado breeze. Don't know how to come down. I'm doing fine with my head in the clouds and these boots, landing on some higher ground. Been high as a cloud up in Colorado, found a heart of gold. Eldorado, been there, done that from coast to coast. Took shelter from the storm in California. I drank through every swinging door in Arizona. But hell, losing hurts like trying to outrun the devil.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Higher Ground podcast, episode 4. The show where we break down songs from my catalog to their most universal themes. Just crack them open and talk about them a little bit. Where do they come from? What do they teach us? What do they teach me? Hopefully I learned something. Speaking of learning things, I hope you're enjoying the show, first of all. And I hope you see that I'm trying to improve it as each episode goes on. I actually showed the show to my buddy. I sent it to a bunch of friends, see what people think of it so far, and see if we're heading in the right direction here with this. And he had some great advice. He called me out, which I really appreciate. In a show that's kind of by design, as a byproduct, is kind of deals in some vulnerability here. He called me out. He's like, he said in one way or another that maybe I'm not being as real. Maybe I'm not being as open as I can be. Maybe not wearing my heart on my sleeve like I should in a show like this, talking about the things we're kind of talking about. So I want to try to do that more. I want to try to be more open, more honest, more transparent as we go along here. Because I think it'll be for the betterment of the show, betterment of the conversations that we're having around these songs. As you know, this music's so important to me. And I think you also know how much I appreciate that you've chosen to make it a part of your life. So I want to make sure we do right by these songs. I want to make sure I do right by you all who are taking the time to connect with me here on this show. So with that in mind, got to thank my buddy for calling me out. And we're going to try to step it up moving forward, starting with this episode. And I thought, what better song to maybe take this to another level with than Outrun the Devil, the song I was just playing a minute ago. Outrun the Devil from Sleeping with Ghosts Volume 1. It's interesting. We did Space. We tackled the song Space in episode 2, and here we are at episode 4, and I'm talking about Outrun the Devil. What's interesting, there's a connection to those 2 songs that maybe a lot of people don't know about, and that's that I got the idea for Outrun the Devil while on that road trip that resulted from the songwriting of Space. When I took that 2,500-mile road trip of the Southwest, you do something like that, you just end up with all of these ideas, because you're just, it's like sensory overload with just beauty and inspiration, visual inspiration. And I remember jotting down so many things. One of the things that I jotted down was definitely, I had this phrase, outrun the devil. I might have seen it somewhere. It might have been could have been the name of a book I saw in a bookstore or something like that. It could have been anything. Or maybe it was just a phrase that popped in my head. I don't remember, but I captured whatever I thought was interesting at the time as I was just making my way around. And so I come back home and I have a writing appointment with my buddy Steve Lester, who I've written a ton of songs with, uh, one of our most favorite collaborators. We got together and we're very close friends. And so we were, as soon as we got together, we started catching up. He knew that I was kind of on this trip and coming back, and I was excited to talk about it and tell him about it. And I remember we spent some time chatting about it, and then eventually I brought up, I was like, I got this title though, this thing, Outrun the Devil, and I think he immediately got it because of, I was kind of telling him about this trip. He knew kind of personally what it meant to me. I was going there. I felt a little bit lost at that time. I was going through some things, as one does when he, decides to do a 2,500-mile road trip by himself, in a place he's never been before. Chances are maybe he's going to look for something, learn something about himself. And I really was. And I think I was lost. I was heartbroken. I felt like maybe I was leaning into my vices more than I definitely should have been. And so this title, Outrun the Devil, I felt like in a way, by going on this trip, was I maybe running from something? Maybe I felt like there was always this monkey on my back, this devil whispering in my ear. They say, you got an angel on one shoulder, devil on the other shoulder. Which one are you going to listen to? And that's just a metaphor, but I feel like a lot of us feel that way, that, we have that choice. We have those whispers in our ear. And what are we going to listen to? Are we going to be in the right frame of mind to make the best choice? And at this time, I don't think I was in the right frame of mind. So I wanted to write a story about this. I wanted to write kind of, separate from this trip that we've talked about in episode 2. I wanted to write a story about somebody who had that monkey on their back that they couldn't shake, where it was almost, you don't know if is it is it real or is it something in the mind, you know? But I wanted to feel like you were on the run, like an outlaw, like Billy the Kid or something like that, like Jesse James. Like, I remember part of my trip involved like 100 or so miles driving the Billy the Kid Byway, I think is what it was called. I had a car, but Billy did it on a horse. I don't know how he did it. It was a long way. Anyway, um, I wanted to feel that way where what if somebody got their heart broken, but was struggling with moving on and making that feel like being an outlaw on the run from the police or something like that, right? This episode of the Higher Ground podcast was brought to you in part by Desperado, the music videos, Volume 1, and the brand new Volume 2. I'm so proud of these DVDs. Between both volumes of Desperado, you have 28 tracks. That's 28 music videos, 4 of which cannot be seen anywhere else except for right here on these 2 copies, produced and edited by your boy for you, the audience. And I've made sure to include so many of your favorite songs on here. Higher Ground, It Is What It Is, What You Drinking About, Catch My Breath, Deja You, 2 Steps Back, Outrun the Devil. That's just a few on the first volume alone. On the second volume, we tackle the later records in the catalog. Finding My Way Back Home is on here. Bed on Fire, Confession, One Day, Fifth Half Full. All 5 records represented on these 2 DVDs. Only 100 copies were made of these. Once they are gone, they're gone for good. I don't make a lot of these things. I don't do it for the money. I just do it because I think it's cool to have something physical every once in a while in this digital world that we live in. These go for $15 a piece only at RylandFisherShop.com. Grab yours before they're gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. It was a cool metaphor that made a lot of sense to me. We're always trying to outrun something. It's on your tail. And it hasn't caught you yet. Or maybe it has. Maybe it's always with you. Maybe it's like this game of cat and mouse or whatever, where it always kind of knows where you're at. This monkey on your back, this devil on your back, this devil on your shoulder, whispering in your ear. Because that's how I felt at the time. We've talked about it before, this just waking up and just being sick and tired of feeling so sick and tired. That's that whisper in the ear that I'm talking about. That's that devil on your tail. It's like in the second verse of Outrun the Devil. This is kind of what I mean, so you know where I'm coming from. I say, it's like she knows where I lay my head, because every time I toss and turn over, there she is on her side of the bed, and I'm just pretending to hold her. Off the grid, just trying to lose her. So, that thing where she's always kind of there, and you haven't figured out how to shake it yet, no matter where you go. And you see this guy in the context of the story of the song, you see him go everywhere. Up in the Rockies in Colorado, El Dorado, coast to coast, California, Arizona, Reno, Nevada, Broken Saddle, Winslow, Arizona. He goes all over the place. Anyway, while my trip didn't feel exactly that way, that's what living felt like, I think, for me. And multiple times in my life, I felt that way. Where I remember my early 30s, I spent working a lot, but all of my off working hours, I used to kind of having this, I was stuck in this habit of, I would go to work And then when work was over, I would go write a song. And then when that was done, I would go to the bar and I would stay at the bar until about 3 a.m. I would close it down pretty much. And that would just be every day, just boom, boom, boom. I was spending as much time at the bar as I was working. Now, how can that be the right thing to do? That doesn't sound like living my best life to me. But that was then. That's just an example of, I think, what this song is trying to say. To have that devil whispering in your ear all the time. Not that it's bad to, enjoy yourself and anything like that. It was just so much of that. And it was always trying to mask some pain, right? So I think that's what we're really trying to say in this song is, yeah, we're traveling, we're moving around, but it's not really about literally moving around. It's about having that monkey on your back and just not being able to shake it. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? Everybody would do it right away. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. So that's definitely a way that I've struggled in my life. When you're going through stuff and you're going through heavy emotions, when you go through loss, and you go through grief, you lose somebody, or you feel alone, or you don't have the right people around you, you don't have the right community. I think that can happen a lot for people that live alone. Hopefully we all have some level of family and friends and community around us. But when you're single, when you live that single life, you have a lot more freedom. And with a lot more freedom comes the potential to not always make the best choices as it relates especially when you're going through things. It can be really convenient in a lot of ways and you can really have a great life. But not to say any of that. It's just that when you just have yourself to mostly think about, that could be a slippery slope. And you can find yourself trying to outrun the devil. Maybe the devil's alcohol. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's just it could be any kind of substance abuse, right? It could be somebody that you loved that you lost. And it's that inability to move on. It's that pain. That could be your devil whispering in your ear. That could be your monkey on your back. Like I say, if it was easy, everybody would just, wake up and be all moved on, but it doesn't really work that way, right? It takes time. It takes time, it takes learning, it takes trial and error and falling on your face and getting back up, and it takes hangovers sometimes, right? Learning from those lessons. But I like to think that no matter what we go through, no matter how much pain we have to endure, regardless of what we weren't naturally equipped with to deal and had to learn on our own, no matter how unfortunate the circumstances might be, that I like to believe that we can one day wake up after enough time has passed, enough trial and error, enough lessons learned, enough falling on our face and getting back up one more time. After enough of that has gone on, I like to believe that all of us can one day look at that devil in the face with no fear and tell it to go to hell and be truly moved on. I want that for all of us. I know there's folks out there going through things at this moment. So that's my kind of wish. That's my hope and prayer for this episode, is that I want to throw that out there into the universe. Anybody watching this that's going through a tough time, I want to send you a lot of love, and I want to send you a lot of hope, the perseverance to keep going, to get back up one more time and feel like you're not outrunning the devil, that you've got that monkey off your back finally. And you feel like you're back at your life. You're back into your life now. So for anybody out there who's going through something, know that somebody's thinking about you. Know that you're not alone. And you can shake that monkey off your back. You can shut that devil up once and for all and get him off your tail. And you can live to die another day, right? Always talking about something to look forward to. Well, isn't that something to look forward to? I think so. That might be a good place to end the show here today. I hope that puts that song into perspective a little bit more. Hope you're able to maybe put yourself in the shoes of that character in the song. Or I hope you can use it and take it with you as a companion on your path to whatever it is that you're going through. Either way, I appreciate you. Appreciate the time. Have a great week. Good vibes only, as always. Be good. See you next time.
You can find me